Cool. Ladies and gents, my name's Captain Fraser Travascus. I'm the current Modernisation of Learning Project Manager out of the School of Signals. Basically, I'm the one that's been running Moodle for the last 18 months or so at the School of Signals. What I want to focus on is development and use of the Moodle LMS within a restricted environment. We all know how different defence is, but I want to concentrate on the lessons learned at each of the different levels, from command through to the actual user at the end state. So as it says there, I'm going to talk about the journey we've taken at DFSS over the last 2 years and some of the lessons learnt within the ADF environment. So I'm going to just talk quickly about where we've came from 2008, the journey since the last 2 years since I basically was dedicated to this task, the lessons learnt from the command, training command perspective, from the unit perspective, from the unit's course creator perspective, and finally the end state with the users. I also want to quickly talk about the potential future within defence for the Moodle system. So where have we came from in DFSS? 2008, Box Hill TAFE came in and actually installed the Moodle platform on our training networks, our own standalone network. It was Moodle 1.9, there was no real dedicated staff, no one was really trained in it, no one really knew what was going on or even what Moodle was or even how to spell it. Box Hill came with us. They gave us created a single course for us just to give a concept demonstration. Since that time though, 2008 to 2013, nothing really happened within this space. Like I said, 2013, I was actually dedicated to the journey of introducing Moodle and modernised learning within DFSS. So I'll just give you a quick rundown of where we came over the last 2 years. So in April, I was actually allocated, I was told to modernise learning. What exactly does that mean? I didn't really know at the time. So I took 3 months exploring what Moodle was, looking at blended learning, looking at academic papers, speaking to Box Hill, speaking to all these different people to try and explore how training is delivered within every other institution. It was noted by my CO that training hasn't changed over the last 20 years probably within defence. The only change is going from overhead projection to probably PowerPoint. So it's the same delivery mechanism. So come July, I had a bit of a better idea after engaging partners, after having a look at academic papers, all that type of stuff. We started to engage Box Hill TAFE to actually create some courses that we think were relevant, that they could actually do, noting that they're an unclassed, uncleared organisation. So we couldn't give them anything that was restricted or secret or anything. So we had to concentrate solely on basically sort of competency focused, and in some of our cases, subject courses which were unclassified at that level. During July, after my initial look at defence and look at blended learning, it was identified that there's a very large knowledge gap within this. We looked at professional development, looked to our TAFE providers and got some ideas from them. From there, we actually paid them to create some professional development courses, which include a student induction, a teacher induction, a managers, a course creator, and a mentoring program. So we kind of looked at the whole gamut of what our instructors don't get taught and what they need to be taught, got Box Hill to create this professional development for us, and then moved on from there. In September, we identified certain people within the unit that would need to be upskilled within these areas. So what I looked at was a single person within each of the ops groups, within each of the wings ops groups, to kind of advocate at that lower levels. So what I did was I upskilled those members to then pass on their knowledge to the doers on the floor, the creators and that. So I kind of had me up the top with each of the wings, with Moodle advocates, if you want, or champions within each of the wings. So April I started. November was when we actually put the boots on the ground and actually internal development began. We chose a course that was Tri-Service, for you who know the Defence Crypto Custodian course. So that's Tri-Service. It's 2 weeks. It's relatively very book focused, a lot of process focused. So we thought that was probably a good course to start with. At the same time, we started to finalise with Box Hill some of our external courses that they were creating for us at the time. So our Subject 2 for Corporal was coming online, and our Subject 2 Sergeant was coming online as well. That was more or less 2013. So it took from April to November to actually get some production happening and actually understanding what we needed to do and where we needed to be. So 2014, the first trial of our internal course began. Now it was only, I think the DCCC is about 8 CLOs. We only trialled the first 2 CLOs. So we decided that we had a test group. We decided to trial the first 2 CLOs to see how it went, basically as a small cross-section of individuals. We gave half Moodle, we gave the other half just face-to-face as they had been teaching. We found that the Moodle guys finished it quicker, learnt more and actually enjoyed it much more. Yeah? CLO? Sorry, what is it? Thank you, everyone. Course learning outcome, it's a breakdown of our training management package. Sorry for anyone who's not defence. If I say anything else, just pick me up. In June, we finalised all our formative assessments online. Again, it was identified early that by putting our formative assessments online, we could greatly leverage our instructors' time. So there was a big push from the start of 2014 till June to get all the formative assessments online. That's been going gangbangers from since June. It's been great. They're loving it, and the instructors actually find themselves a lot more time and nothing but positive feedback from this initiative.
How many courses roughly is that,
Well, I couldn't tell you. How many? Probably about 100 formative assessments on there. So there's a hell of a lot of formative assessments. So right there, we're taking, the instructors aren't sitting down with 2 bottles of wine ticking A, B, C, D, A, B, C, D. Moodle's doing it all for them, and the instructors are absolutely loving it. Also in June, we finally finished our internal course. Like I said, it was a 2-week course, and it still took us 7 or 8 months to get right. During this time, we learned a hell of a lot, though, about file types, about the DRN restrictions, about different resources and that type of stuff we could use. As well, we looked at external development through ALPC, the Navy. There's a Navy ALPC equivalent. I can't remember what they're called, the production centre guys. So we started to look at other organisations within defence to assist us in our development. I don't know, does RAF have a production centre at all? One person. Be a busy man. And exciting news, as of October we started to deliver our Defence Crypto Custodian course externally. So we're actually trialling that at the moment. We've leveraged a hell of a lot off Defence Force School of Music in the paperwork that they've created to get contracts with the unit COs and all that. So we've put all the steps in place to make sure that the CO, the OCs and everyone else is aware that this individual is doing the internal training externally. So this is what our current Moodle interface looks like. So you can see there a bit of a blurb. We've got there the courses, type of course it is, and right there is what you're enrolled in, is what the individual will see. So it's very easy for the student to, once they log in, it's all boom right in front of them. I won't actually go into the structures and everything because I was hoping I was have DR in here. So I'll just move into the lessons learnt. Overall lessons learnt, DRN is a unique environment, whether it be the Internet Explorer we're using, whether it be the restrictions, whether it be the lack of our ability to use things like YouTube. Nothing's ever easy within defence or within the DRN constraints. The governance within ADF's been slow, I suppose. Obviously, if you looked at the previous lecture where the world was going and where learning was going, and you look at where defence is starting from, we're a good few years behind. So I think governance is something we need to be very cognizant of within defence to make sure we don't try and over-govern Moodle. What else I've learned is Moodle can be a one-stop shop for everything. I'll show you in my final slide how I see the concept of Moodle and how Moodle is the central point with all the other processes coming into Moodle. I suppose the big point is though that every other organisation who's introduced Moodle into their organisation, they've faced the same challenges as we have. I suppose the only difference is that we have CIOG sitting over the top of us for DRN, whereas other organisations probably have a bit more control over their network. So I'll just start off with some of the lessons learned that I've seen for the training command. I think it's important for the highest level to enable the unit champions and advocates. This means giving the guys time to actually explore Moodle and have a look around and really understand the administration component of it, not just the here's how you create content, but to get the most out of Moodle, I think you need to understand the whole back end as well. And I was lucky enough to be given that opportunity for that time up until about the start of this year. And it was great because it really gave me an understanding of what Moodle can give us. Problem is with that, it takes time to really learn it and really knuckle down and really work out what Moodle has to offer. It's important for the train commands to cultivate the SMEs, and obviously as a training command, you sit up the top. The SMEs are the ones that know what they need, what's there, and everything else. You need to bring those SMEs with you as the project grows, because there's no substitute for the experience that I've got and achieved over the past 8 or 9 months doing Moodle by myself. Encourage development ideas. I think it's important as well to drive it from the top. A lot of the guys come to me because they feel comfortable that I will encourage the development, encourage ideas and all that type of stuff. And I think that's important at every level of command, not just at the tactical level, but even at the training command as well. I found that within the units, particularly within the TCs, you need 2 SMEs. You need a Moodle SME who actually understands the front-end Moodle interface and the administration behind it. We also need the system administrator to run the network, who understands the back end of it. Both very important positions. Like I said, I'm probably the more Moodle SME component, but I also do delve into the system administration components of it as well. So where I sit, I've got a pretty good grasp of it all. We found as well that Microsoft-only products have been a bit of an issue for us. We found that there's larger levels of support, and especially on the DRN, it's easier to use open source software. My technical nerd isn't here with me today, but he's a big advocate of Linux, Apache and MySQL. There's a lot of support within the Moodle community for any of you administrators out there for open source software, not so much the Microsoft software. And collaborative approach. Like I said before, unless you know the system, it's important to know. It's important to get your SMEs in at each of the units, each of the wings, and bring them all together and help drive this thing from the higher levels. Are there any questions on any of that? Cool. Okay, from the unit perspective, which is where I've mainly been involved. So unit implementers. Like I said, I was tasked in April 2013 to try and implement Moodle into the school. It was very important, I found, to keep everyone informed, give constant briefings, go out, talk to people, document storage program. We've actually put all our learning support material now onto Moodle. So what that's doing is actually, I won't say enforcing, but encouraging our instructors to actually use Moodle. So even though it's only PowerPoints at the moment, they're still being forced to get a login, understand how the system works, and then running their learning support, running their PowerPoints actually directly from Moodle. So again, it's forcing them to actually adopt and take ownership of that system. For the course creators, so this is probably the biggest hurdle, is how do we get a sergeant, a corporal who has never really done any form of e-learning development, course creation. All they've been taught throughout their careers is, here's a PowerPoint, you need to tick off this box, this box, deliver your lesson, that type of stuff. So we found this was probably the biggest hurdle to overcome. Again, PD training, support network for them. I've done things like Edutech and things like that, so I've got a bit of a background, a bent to it. Before I joined Army, I was looking at becoming a teacher, so I did some training in teaching and actually did some teaching. So not only professional development component, but it's important as well to have those SMEs or people that they can talk to about content creation and how they should structure their lessons or that type of stuff. Guide and give ideas. We had that course, the DCCC course that we created. We didn't use an exemplar, but we kind of allowed the guys to see how we structured and created that one course. We didn't give them the whole course. We just gave them aspects of different types of learning that we did, I suppose. So we gave them a few videos, we gave them a few pictures, we gave them a few drag and drops. So we really diversified and showed them some of the things they could do within Moodle. Limited external resources, again, coming back to the DRN, but we've found some really good other things that we've been able to access from, like I said, ALPC and those type of guys to YouTube education and those type of resources. Khan Academy had a free maths package that we used for a while, which is, again, really good because it's out there. There's a lot of stuff out there. You just need to know where it is and finding it. YouTube education's been really great as well for, we taught a lot of maths as well. And there's heaps of stuff on YouTube education. Obviously, there's risk with that because it might change, things might evolve, the person might take down their thread. PowerPoint upload versus content creation. Obviously, like I said before, we've kind of encouraged our guys to upload all the PowerPoints onto the server. It's just now about encouraging them to not do the whole course, but bit by bit, change it over to an e-learning, blended learning solution as opposed to PowerPoint. This has been a really big challenge because, again, everyone's busy. Now that it's kind of uploaded onto Moodle, they think they've Moodleized it. And it's just, it's keeping that, again, like I said, from the top, keeping those guys motivated, really not enforcing, but encouraging that development. Because at the end of the day, once they see it, once they work out that the 2 hours they spend creating the content has saved them, an hour every lesson, they'll come around. Like I said before, use of inputters to save time. I leveraged our holding troop members as much as I could to say to the guys, look, just come down, give them some guidance, give them some pictures, tell them what you want, go back and do your instructing, come back down, check to make sure they're doing it right. What I've been telling everyone as well is regardless of the course, if you build it as a distance course, think of it as distance. As much as you can, make it as self-paced as you can, and then you compare it, bring it back from there. But if you just concentrate on making it a distance course, it'll open up a hell of a lot of flexibility later on down the track. Again, defence restrictions on the DRN, different file types. We found some of the file types just did not load. It was loading QuickTime. It was loading all these other crazy applications that just didn't work. We were sitting there for literally 20 minutes waiting for a video to load. So a lot of what we've found is been little shortcuts like that. Things like using HTML5 as the video editor, as the video. Defence restrictions as well as far as the training management packages go. So like ComC, there's a certain way to structure it. The way we've structured is very much in line with the training management package with the CLO, the MLO, and then the learning. Lectora Inspire, that's currently on the Dazzle. We found that to be an awesome tool for our course creators. Now what that is, that's a video editing, advanced PowerPoint creation tool. You can change the file formats, you can do all that type of stuff. It's really great. We're still only scratching the surface of what exactly it can do, but we found Lectora Inspire has been great because it isn't like Adobe. It isn't one of these high spec, do all this crazy Gucci stuff. Lectora Inspire is very easy. Like I said before, I have these kids coming in for me for about 2 months. Within 2 or 3 days, we actually can teach them how to use Lectora Inspire, do the video conversions, do the video editing, do all that type of stuff. Within 2 days, I've now got a useful individual that can actually create videos, edit videos, and all this other stuff. Adobe, it'd probably take 2 months to teach him just how to turn the bloody thing on. Ma'am?
What's the Dazzle?
Defence Approved Software List. Sorry. Cool. So lessons learned from our students, or from my perspective from the students. What we're doing now is giving them an early introduction into Moodle. So as soon as they march into Defence Force School Signals and they're sitting there in the holding platoon, holding troop, we create them user accounts, we get them to log in, and we get them to go through the basic induction course. This way, we know they've got an account then created, so every single individual that comes through Defence Force School Signals will now have an account. They'll know how to log in, and if they've done the basic initial training, they'll quite easily be able to navigate their way through. Yes?
Quick question. How have you had exposure to something like this in BCE?
Yeah, good question. So defence, as you can imagine, is very, very wide, very, very broad. The younger generation coming through, heaps. Lots of them have already had exposure to some form of learning management system. Some of the older guys haven't. So the younger kids we found is very, very. Moodle's quite intuitive as it is. We found that the younger kids can just jump on and just pump through, whereas the old generation, they need to actually work through it, I suppose. But yeah, we found, definitely the younger kids are just, it's second nature. I classify myself as a younger kid as well, so.
I'm almost the other 55.
But it's very important though to give them that initial training, and it's actually up on the front page that they can actually e-learning how to. So it's always there, it's always accessible for them to look at. We found as well that anyone who's done a course, there's the evaluation process at the end. We've actually found that there's been a hell of a lot of positive and negatives about Moodle coming through, and it's actually been some really good feedback, and it's actually been very constructive feedback. I know when I've done courses, you've kind of just paid off the eval at the end of it, but yeah, we're getting some really good feedback from even the younger kids who are actually sitting down there and writing, Moodle was great, or I like this about Moodle, or I didn't like this about Moodle, and this didn't work and that didn't work. Big thing was testing to ensure the experience was a good one for the students. Now, you're never going to get it right. Just the other week, we had an upgrade and we copied a course over and it totally stuffed the course. And we found a really, nothing but negative within the training review. So I just wanted to touch on that because I think it's important to try and give, especially when you're trying to introduce something like this, I think it's important to give the students the best exposure and obviously make Moodle shine in the best light that you can. We found that after the training review came through, it was they really disliked it, and I think it just left a bad taste in all their mouths. So, that's going to be another, or when I move on, another fight for the next Learning Centre manager to really, try and get these people back on board with. So I think it's important to do the testing and ensure that it works. That was just the stuff up, just kind of slipped through the gaps. We've got a help desk now, which we found gets very busy with password resets and all that type of stuff. But I think, again, it's important for the teachers as well as the students to have an ongoing help desk available for them. Fix minor issues to fix big issues, to fix all this stuff. But again, I've been lucky enough to have a sergeant work with me since January, February. He's basically kind of been the one creating that course, but then he's been the help desk on the side. So it's been really good. We've created a help desk group mailbox now as well, so any ongoing issues, any content creation, any courses that are coming through that we need to create user accounts for and create sessions for, they actually email the help desk now. So we've actually found that help desk to be a great little tool for us. Always accessible PD, not just for the students, so the e-learning how to use, but for the instructors as well. We have a professional development page that for every instructor that comes through that has an account gets the how to be a mentor online, how to create courses online, and how to be a teacher online. So it's all kind of there for that instructor to always go back to, always refer to, and use basically. As well as we've always got the Wikipedia page or the wiki page available for our individuals to go through and have a look at the how other people have done things. Online feedback with the wiki and that type of stuff. Like I said before, the older generation, some of them like it, some of them don't. Some of them pick it up, some of them don't. I suppose what I've instructed our instructors to say is, look, this is the way now, this is the future, you have to adopt it and come on board, I suppose. A lot of them, again, once they get explained to it, it's no different if I take a movie of myself lecturing and I put it online. There's no difference if I am up here lecturing. They just need to understand that. They've still got mechanisms to engage the lecturer and engage the SMEs of the subject. And like I said before, most younger students we found, especially in defence, they've all used an LMS before and some form of online learning before. So that kind of finishes my lessons learned very quickly from each of those perspectives. Any questions on any of that? Ma'am?
I just was interested in you talking about putting the learning support material online and that you're only at the PowerPoint stage at this point in time. Something I was considering myself on one of my courses. Have you thought about in the future actually, putting the lesson plans like instructor-only material? Because I'm assuming the PowerPoints then become available to the students, whereas the lesson plan you wouldn't want.
And we've got the lesson plans on, so we hide them, so only the teachers can actually view that.
Do you put them in the same place as the PowerPoints and just hide them in terms
Yes.
of the cohort, or you have separate?
No, we hide them within that, so because only instructors can see it for them.
So if they went to a tab or a page that, well, this is the content for this lesson, everything the instructor needed would be
basically everything you had on objective is now just being picked up,
Yeah.
put across. Yeah.
That's probably an interim step phrase for your guys going from transitioning from the death by PowerPoint mentality through to pure blended learning, delivery on Moodle, developing professional packages. School of Six is going through that transition and they're trying to adapt. Yes, everyone else is going to go through. Yeah, that's an interim solution they've done. Their CEO has been quite progressive with directing. Is that the right word? Directing formative assessments. I think it was by July this year must be on where appropriate. And that's probably the big stepping stone for you guys in the sense that now it's forced the organisation to start thinking Moodle, along with what Fraser and his team have won, a team of two, actually trying to drive the motivation behind using fighting the Luddites of technology.
And that's what I was thinking as well. I haven't done it yet, but still, it was interesting to hear you say that you've been experimenting with it because I was thinking the same thing. How do I get my people, my teachers, to sort of say this is the way we're going to teach it? How do I get them familiar with the program? And I think what you're saying is that actually this is working, so it's something I'll probably
I honestly, I actually said to my CEO, look, I think once it's on there though, people are, that'll be it. You know, like I said before, I've modernised learning, I'm done type of thing. So I think next year it's now a matter of putting into place, right, it's on there, now start developing it because instructors are slack. Instructors in here, but instructors are quite slack. And once it's on there, they're happy type of thing. So I think you need to keep driving it. You can't just kind of rest on your laurels and say it's done. Instructors actually need definitive timelines for it. Yep. So
I find that the occupied help has been crucial to help transfer people who might be dragging, who are getting stuck and getting frustrated with it.
Yep.
They need help to, and then if they can get that quick backup access or help, that might then encourage them to start using a bit more. Otherwise it'll work against you.
Well, that's what I mean. It's always occupied. I've always got someone looking at it. The phone, it's always manned. My guys sometimes hang around till 4 or 5 o'clock getting things done with lastminute.com. So the help desk is crucial.
Could I also just say just about the PowerPoint concept? Be very careful with that. Even though Fraser, because he's dedicated, he can manage that carefully. But using Moodle as a dumping ground for PowerPoint is fraught with perils. It's a very dangerous path, I believe, because otherwise instructors will think that's the status quo. Okay, instead of dumping an objective, we'll dump it in Moodle. And if you put shit in, guess what? We'll check the product out. Language. But I'm involved with headquarters of language for trying to implement this. And one of the things I encourage was Colonel Conway's presentation, Bridging the Gap for the new two UTs, DINSEE and the Police Training Centre. We're rolling out slowly and we're trying for their first courses they develop, that they actually build a course, show it, so the instructors see what it can do, as opposed to just, and that's what School of Six has done, they've done it slightly differently. They put the DCCC and a couple of other courses that had professionally built by Box Hill, so that instructors see go, wow, that's really powerful, Moodle can do this, this and this. If they don't know what it can do, they'll just dump the outputs on the second. I would recommend be very, very careful doing that, because otherwise you'll have to reverse engineer it.
Fraser, were you forced into DRM or was it a choice?
Well, because it's restricted, because what we're doing is restricted, we can't use ADAL or these other ADCs. So we're constrained by within a restricted environment, yes. We've actually got it on our training network at the moment that's actually bridged under the DRM. So we don't actually have anything really to do with the DRM as such. It's used as an interface. So
Can I ask a question? I mean, what would you consider to be the driving design principle behind what you do? I mean, I'm not coming from a military background, but I had in my mind that perhaps there are very particular skills, particular ways that you train people in the military, and Moodle, to my understanding, perhaps is a bit limited to what you can do towards that end. So is it a matter, for example, that you go through professional conversation with your military personnel, understand the needs, the skills, the outcome, and try to the best of your ability to adapt it to fit Moodle? I'm trying to figure out whether, for example, things like simulations, gamifications, things that perhaps are more attractive to the military personnel can be are part of the agenda, or at the moment you're at the stage where you try to compromise within the Moodle environment. Any comment on that?
We've been very careful because a lot of our instructors mentioned, we're going to compromise assessment, we're going to compromise learning, we're going to compromise this, and I don't think you do, because again, you come back to, there's no difference, we're very PowerPoint focused, we're very much someone standing up here and talking to you. So like I've said to a lot of those guys, because that's what they know, we're not compromising that, because all we're doing now is actually making that learning better, because if we need to film an instructor at the front delivering, that's no different. We've actually delivered a better product to you, because now it's interactive. Now you can watch the video and then watch it again and then watch it again while you're doing it. So we've been very careful not to compromise. Is that?
Yeah, I'm just thinking whether you think there are other set of skills or perhaps tools that you would consider, but at the moment you're not considering for.
Oh look, I think simulation, I think emulation, I think all that stuff, it needs to be incorporated. There needs to be a decision point somewhere, but where does emulation and simulation take over from doing the real thing? Now I don't know that answer, but I reckon you can learn. I've read a paper, you can learn 60 or 70% from a simulation, from an emulation, before you even actually need to pick up a piece of equipment. Now I actually argue with a lot of our instructors, because we do a lot of routing, a lot of virtual computing. I've actually said to them, do you really need to get someone to plug in, because we're talking about routers which are $600-700 per pop. Do you really need to get someone to pick up a piece of cable and plug it into the only spot that's there? But that's currently what they're doing. Do they need to do that? Personally, I probably don't think they do. So that's kind of the bent that I'm trying to push from some of our instructors down. Another question?
Can I just add to that, I suppose?
Yeah.
Speaking from another school within the military, so I'm from the All-Corps Officer and Soldier Training Continuum at Royal Military College Dutch and we're thinking along the lines that you are, in terms of there's some things that are useful to put onto Moodle, and there's other things where you actually have to go out and learn by doing, and that can't be simulated, and there's some things where we can use a simulation. So we're looking at different learning tools for different outcomes. So I don't believe we're being forced down Moodle and have to Moodleize everything, but those things where, for the School of SIGs, where it's theoretical classroom environment, in a lot of instances it does work very well.
Like I said, man, you have to still put up a cam there. There's still certain skills within a vet you need to perform. You need to perform skills. So we're not taking that away, but we can do a lot of the learning, like the 60-70%, before we actually do anything else.
I can give a good example of that. We, obviously, all military, our standard weapon is the style. We have to learn how to use the weapon. So a lot of the stuff military doctrine tab data and how to use the weapons and process. And our soldiers have to be proficient just death by exposure. So Moodle would support the tab data, the learning, the systems, what it's used for, its ranges and all that sort of stuff. It still doesn't teach you how to use the weapon, it gives you the data. What we then do, in our current format, we've actually got weapons training simulator, WETS facilities, which are basically digital ranges, big projector screens, and you're shooting a live weapon. So you're learning, so the theory of tab data, you then apply it in a safe environment where the worst thing you do is get shot with a laser. Once they're proficient at that, then they actually go through the mechanism on the real weapon. I'm not sure the exact process, but that eventually leads to the final or summative assessment where they actually are on a live range with live ammunition firing at them at dummy targets.
Can I just quickly come back to that? So, for example, when you come to do a lesson design or a sequence of learning, would you then take all these different spaces and practices with the instructor and say, well, the best way to approach this final end is we will start with the reading, we're going to have the quiz, we're going to go down that, bring all the, or you take them in isolated blocks, is what I mean, like this is your Moodle space and that's only for X, Y, Z, and you're going to do something else.
We're not
the overall thing together.
We're not there yet. We're very early in our infancy, but that's certainly the example I just gave you, where at this stage we're using Moodle for the tab data, but there are opportunities where defence we can use simulation, but that simulation will never get embedded into Moodle. It's a separate capability, and obviously a lot of what we do is not stuff you can see in the general community. A tank, no one drives tanks, but there's probably theory that we can front load ourselves with tab data on how to drive a tank and processes. There's probably, in fact, like helicopters, anything big and expensive you can simulate, and military does like that. The RAF use simulation with drill. Same as Qantas, they use lots of simulation because it's cheaper to crash a simulator than a $500 million jet. So same sort of thing, but we're not quite at that point where we're looking holistically, of course, and saying that's going to be Moodle, that's going to be simulation. That's I think a little way down the track.
Sorry, ma'am.
I've got a sense of the way that you're transmitting information to your participants, your students, whatever you call them, and a sense of them being tested online and how that's freeing up the instructors. But what I'm wondering is whether there's any online engagement
there's a few things that we've actually incorporated in our courses. So at the end of each course we have a pseudo confirmation quiz to make sure they're picking it up. We then encourage them to use the forum at the end of each package of training to then ask their questions. That way we can use that to then incorporate into our courses, but it also allows the instructor to, for that single question, answer a lot of other people's questions at the same time. So that's the online engagement that we're kind of looking at the moment, because I want to try and keep it within the system, so we can kind of build the system as we go, as opposed to phone calls, messaging and that type of stuff. So that's kind of, we use forums extensively. Chats not so much. We haven't really got around to how we're going to work that, if we're going to work that.
Thank you.
Do you have a question?
Yeah, I was just interested in your professional development courses. I'm here at ADFA and we're transitioning across and that, and it struck me that if you've got ready-made packages, is that something we can tap into?
That's defence property IP, yeah.
Yeah.
Another one over here, sorry.
Just feed into this gentleman's comment. I'm from a university environment, and the sort of things that you're talking about, we had a chemistry program, which is really dangerous to let the kids loose in the chem lab. Just imagine. And so what we have is animations with where the kids actually have to pass certain criteria before they get into the lab. And by animations, I mean they actually have to do the chemical analysis online, and the answers are actually stored in our system. Any kid who hasn't passed that cannot get into a lab. So that's probably a bit further down the line for you. And I've got to say, not everyone at our university is using that, but I've seen it work wonders for a 600 student course.
Is that using a lesson? Is that using the lesson function on Moodle?
No, it's actually
Separate.
an animation that's built into SCORM.
Yeah, right.
And it actually retains the results, whereas with lesson it's actually
Doesn't go to
more
the quiz.
difficult to monitor.
Yes, yeah, absolutely.
And so this SCORM thing unpacks it into the grade book.
Yeah, awesome.
So the lecturer can see you haven't done it, right?
Yeah, yep.
And stuff. And
Yep.
so it's sort of like a risk management
Yep.
type thing as well. So.
Yeah, yep. I'll just finish up real quick because I think I'm running out of time. Like I said, the internal professional development is key. How to use it, the course creators, the other subjects that I've spoken about earlier. Mentoring, a big thing. Currently, we teach all our students, again, how to get up in front of the PowerPoint and talk to the PowerPoint. It's important to, I suppose, look at the mentoring component as opposed to the instructor component. So that's something that I've concentrated on with our instructors, about what's your role, what's your new role within the classroom. It's now no longer getting up, speaking to people. It's about encouraging learning. It's about that type of stuff. External PD that I've done, I did EduTech at the start of this year, which was great as far as a education delivery type of thing goes, and how we can approach vet training, which is what we do differently. I found that it was well worth the money. It was an awesome 2 or 3 days up in Brisbane. Moodle Moot as well was good up in Cairns this year. Again, get these type of forums. We do it within the school, within Defence Law School Signals. But you do it at these type of forums, and I found I've learned so much more and took so much more back to the unit that there's no other way to do it. An ADS specific subject course refocus. So again, I think instead of having people stand up in front of a PowerPoint, I think we need to start looking at delivering it via e-learning, teaching our staff how to look at e-learning and development. I'll be really quick here because I think I'm almost 4 minutes out of time. So paradigm shift to look at the new way we actually deliver our content. Like I said before, instead of up front talking, it needs to be a bit more of an e-learning type of situation. Better use our time, reduce time away. As you can imagine, all you who aren't defence, guys go overseas and they come back and they do a 12-month course and then they go back to their unit, then they deploy again. There's a lot of time away from their parents or their spouses or whatever. So Moodle's going to allow us a lot more distance package education. Recognition and OJTs, I see Moodle being the cornerstone for this type of stuff as well, using some of the internal functions and some of like Mahara ePortfolio type of applications. Hopefully soon we'll get it integrated with the DRN. Currently we're creating individual users as we go. So you can imagine, I think we've got about 1,000 users on our system at the moment. Once it's on the DRN, we can use things like Active Directory to automatically create the accounts. So again, limitations within our current infrastructure. Again, wireless, everyone's moving to it. We're moving to it very slowly. Virtual classrooms, they're available right now for defence. It's just about how we incorporate it. So I think it's Adobe Connect actually allows us to do that right now. The operating environment, we're currently using IE 7 and 8, which is causing us issues within formatting, rendering within our web pages. Very difficult for us to go to Moodle 2.7, which is the year-long sustained support, given that it doesn't actually support anything below, I think, Internet Explorer about 9 or 10. So some of the other limitations for defence right there, and I'm not too sure how we're going to cover it. Moodle has so much to offer. Much of it's already there in defence, and it's right in front of our faces, and we're so close to moving to the next stage. It's frustrating for me because I just want to move. I just want to get these things done. We just had that previous lecture about, we're moving into this and all these BYOD. We don't have wireless yet in defence. I think these are these type of things that, this governance and all this type of stuff we need to really, push. And finally, this is probably my concept for where I see Moodle, sitting in the centre of everything with the recognition, the wireless, BYOD, simulation sitting there, remote delivery, assessments online using tablets, the virtual classroom, utilising OJT, student management, the qualifications like in PM Keys, integrating with that. Again, it's all there, it's all available, it's right in front of our faces. Using it for career management, scheduling, all this type of stuff. Go to Edutech, primary schools, high schools, everyone is using this type of stuff right now, and it's all there in front of us. So that concludes my down and dirty lessons learned from a Defence Force Schools Signals perspective. Feel free to give me a buzz or drop me an email. More than happy to discuss it. I know it's very daunting when you're just starting out in the Moodle journey, especially not really knowing where to go, what to do, how to structure it, anything like that. But I'm more than happy to give you my bent on it and my experiences from the journey that I've had thus far. Are there any final questions?
CIOG